yo. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I had a few little glitches in the matrix right there. Good evening, Val Wills. Thank you for checking in. I see you in the building. Uh, man, y'all. Like always, as long as the as Twiddler's in office, we're gonna still have a lot to talk about. And it's almost like just when you thought you saw it all, here comes something else. I'm your host, Brian Forbes. Welcome back to the Black Factor. Black Factor family, thank you for coming in. Where perspective is everything. This is the news that you can use. So, y'all, we getting ready to get this party started. So, and as usual, we got a whole lot to talk about. I got a lot of points to make, a lot of things to offer, more perspective, just like always. So, y'all, let's get ready. Let's get it in. All right. All right. So, look, y'all, don't forget to share the live. Make sure you hit your notification button so when the show comes on, you'll always know when we're on. You can get up on this information. Don't forget you can catch me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube live. Or you can go back, of course, to YouTube always and watch the previous shows, which, by the way, is a real interesting thing I'm going to show you today about something I said way back in May. I called it the I told you so moment on the Black Factor. So it's Friday, y'all. Man, it's Friday. And you ain't got no job. You might as well watch the Black Factor. That was a terrible attempt at Smokey. But anyway, how you get fired on your day off? Anyway, so right quick, I have to give acknowledgement to this little tidbit of information, and that is that on yesterday, the Trump administration's platinum plan, obviously, or his version of his platinum plan, was exercised. The man by the name of Corey Johnson was executed as he recovered from COVID. He was supposed to get executed back in December, and they did not execute him at that time because he had COVID. I'm not quite sure what the point was in. I'm sorry. I guess they would have considered that cruel and inhumane. They were going to execute him. Well, anyway, he had a few more days on Earth, and they executed him on yesterday. Trump's platinum plan in full effect. He, by the way, the most people, and particularly black men, that have been executed by the government in the last 25 years have come under none other than Cheeto Jesus. You know, this is the same guy who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times many years ago to say that he wanted the execution of the Central Park Five, even though they were exonerated and found innocent of all charges. He still wanted them dead, which, of course, brings us to where we are with this clown today. And they are, as we speak, apparently they are loading up the clown car in Washington, and they are about to get all of the trailers off the White House lawn and take all of their cousins and knuckle draggers away with them. Funny thing is, they don't really have anywhere to go. They're becoming a family without a country or state, for that matter. The people in Mar-a-Lago, they've been told, of course, he signed a contract many years ago that he can't live at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, so he has to find other residents. And New York is pretty much just, we don't want you here. Cuomo, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, severed all contracts with the Trump organization's family members and all, so they will not be getting another dime out of New York. And in fact, that money was very representative of a large amount of money. They won't be getting that anymore, so that's that. And speaking of Trump and his lies. Apparently, he had assured everyone that there was a stockpile of this um, of the vaccine, and that turns out to not be true as well. He doesn't have a stockpile of the vaccine, and so now there are people looking at him sideways. But we already know that Trump's answer to that will be, you know, I checked with a lot of experts, and everyone says it's there, and a lot of people saw it. You know, they're all saying that, you know, I did the right thing. There'll be more by tomorrow, or be more soon. So it's already on the way, and the check is in the mail. Yeah, we heard it all before. Before I get too deep into this, I got something to say about these people who seem to think that Donald Trump and his people are being censored. You know, my mother used to say something to me when I was growing up. Whenever I felt like I needed to get back at people or seek revenge, you know, I have to thank my mother, because that advice kept me from doing a lot of probably stupid things. But she always said that when you dig one hole, you better dig two. Dig two, because 9 times out of 10, the actions that you take are going to put you in the other one, whether you realize it or not. And so I say to all of those who are now finding it within themselves to complain about censorship, I have 2 words for you. If you think that them shutting down Parler and them blocking Trump from Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and then the list goes on, anywhere there's social media, he's been blocked. Banks have cut him off. The PGA has cut him off. I have 2 words for anybody who believes that this censorship is causing a problem, and they feel as though they've been wronged. The 2 words: Colin Kaepernick. Now, let's argue. Yeah, you can't. Because censorship is exactly what stopped his career. The man is on the right side of history. And anybody who says anything to you, my audience, about censorship, use those same 2 words: Colin Kaepernick. If you didn't have a problem with the way they treated Colin Kaepernick, you shouldn't have a problem with the way people are being treated for hate speech on social media. And like I had a very lengthy conversation with a watcher of the show on YouTube. If you all are interested in that conversation, you can always go to YouTube and watch the one of the last 2 shows ago. And he was upset about the things, of course, you know, he's typical of the Trump Kool-Aid drinkers, and he regurgitates lots of talking points. I would have liked to hoped, and I don't know, sometimes I think I go too far, and I'm probably going to have to stop doing this, in having these conversations with people in attempts to reach a person that is capable of thinking beyond what they heard someone else that they admire say. That makes absolutely no sense. And it is futile. It's a waste of time. It is an exercise in futility. But he is very insistent that all things are equal, and that attacking our United States Capitol was perfectly fine because the country was burning all summer. According to them, of course, because we all know that the country was not burning all summer. And the fact is, there's a strong difference between people that are seeking justice for something that actually happened. Somebody actually died because of being marginalized, because of being dehumanized, not because they were lied to. Big difference. So, once again, Donald Trump tells more lies. Now, the question becomes, who's behind this whole insurrection? Because the word is getting out, or has gotten out, and through investigations, that this was a very organized coup. The gentleman who I argued with on last night, well into the morning hours, insisted that it couldn't be a coup and it couldn't be premeditated and Donald Trump incite this. The fact is, Donald Trump's been inciting this for the last 2 years or more. Everything out of his mouth is about this election. He's been cheated. Well, why is it that everything is a cheat? I'll tell you why. Because when you're the kind of person who cheats at everything you do, of course you think everybody else is cheating to win. Because you know you can't win on your own. You must cheat yourself. So needless to say, if you got out cheated, of course you're mad. So now Donald Trump is mad because he's been beaten without the cheating. Can't stand that. He just knew cheating was going to get him everywhere he wanted to be. And in fact, in a few more days, y'all, in just a few more days, he's going to be a private citizen. Not only is he going to be a private citizen, in 4 days, 15 hours, 44 minutes, and 22 seconds, his president is going to be Joe Biden. I want you to think about that. Donald Trump, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Your president name is Joe Biden. You are no longer the most powerful man in the world. And I like that because he's a very dangerous individual. But the thing is this. It appears that the Republican Party, in my best opinion, have been so complicit in all of this. I, at first, was skeptical about this impeachment, but I believe that Donald Trump is probably going to get convicted. And the reason why is this. As much as I don't care for Mitch McConnell, he is smart enough, and I know that he's had his ways of doing things, and he's done the things that he's done for a reason. Although he is a hypocrite, I have to give him, I guess, credit for being a shrewd businessman. But I also know that in being the shrewd businessman that he is, he's very aware that Donald Trump will throw anybody under the bus. And I think he knows that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So, more than likely, he's going to push toward the actual conviction of Donald Trump for one reason and one reason only. And that will be that the Republican Party, they want their party back. They want to get back in the game. They don't want to continue being Trump-publicans. They want to go back to being Republicans. And if they allow Donald Trump to continue to have a stronghold, a stranglehold on their party, they are going to go down the toilet. He lost the election. He lost the Senate. He already had lost the House halfway through his tenure. So I think that smart Republicans, although there aren't many of them, as we can clearly see, because 147 of them stood up to disenfranchise an entire group of people, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. We know that there are only a few who actually have the brain capacity to understand what's going on. But I personally believe, and I've always thought this, that Donald Trump had something over on some of these guys. I think he's got some dirt on some of them because they're just too afraid. They're too scared of this guy. And I just find that very, very curious. Why? Now, there's only one Republican that at this point, I guess I can say has a spine, and that's Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney never, not from day one, bought into the Donald Trump brand. He hasn't suffered for it. Mitt Romney is a man. We may have an ideological difference in politics, but at least you can say that he is a man and he has some level of integrity, because that's something that the Republican Party is sorely lacking: integrity and honesty. So it appears that to the highest levels of the Republican Party, they are complicit in what is taking place. That's a scary thought. The bottom line is everyone is not a responsible individual. They don't want to take responsibility for their part in this. They don't want to admit being wrong. And I think that alone, for me, is the part that I think is most disturbing. What happened to the people who, when they make a mistake, they're able to say, I made a mistake. I was wrong. Let me correct it and do better. Let me not alienate people to save my ego. I'm sorry. I grew up in a time, and the crazy part is these men are older than me. And I thought I grew up in a time where men had, my generation, had some levels of humanity. It's a shame when your humanity has gone so far to one side that you will do anything or say anything to maintain your lie. Well, the fact is, when people don't want to take responsibility, someone has to hold their feet to the fire. Somebody has to make them account for their nonsense, make them account for their lawlessness. We know that Trump's not capable, and he's proven this time and time again. So someone has to hold these people responsible. He lives in a bubble. But people like myself and you all, through elections, have proven to have very well-pointed needles to pop those bubbles, to burst those bubbles so that the truth can get in. Donald Trump has a very strong bubble, and he's got people who are standing guard around that bubble to protect it. They're going to make sure you don't pop his bubble. But it's a shame. There have been reports now that some Republicans are just as afraid of other Republicans as they are Donald Trump. This is how far we've gone. And that's crazy to me. So today, y'all, well, let me say this. Because of where things are right now, I think we've gone too far. I think that Donald Trump's dog whistles have finally called the dogs. And we saw that. And we got to remember that the law, and of course, you know, he calls himself the law and order president. He reminds me of that one person that you meet on the street, and the first thing out of their mouth is, well, I'm a Christian. Well, let me tell you something. That's a scary person to me. When you have to announce what you are on your entrance, that lets me know right there that you're anything but. I'm the law and order president. No, you're the breaking the law president, and you just told on yourself. So now we know what we're dealing with. But we have to remember, y'all, that the laws begin. The reason why laws are made, the law begins where humanity ends. The law begins where human failure, to use for lack of a better word, begins. Because if we don't have something that holds people to account, where would we all be? I'm sure that many of you in my audience have a few people you'd like to take out. But we have laws and we have humanity that keep us from doing this. Our humanity in most cases will stop us, but the law will definitely put a feather in that, put a pin in that so that you don't go out and do something that's going to get you put in the penitentiary for a very long time. Like many of these insurgents are about to find out. funny thing about those insurgents, have y'all noticed that a little term you haven't heard probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe longer? Blue Lives Matter. Haven't heard that. Haven't heard anybody screaming Blue Lives Matter after they beat the hell out of a bunch of police officers and killed one. And one killed himself. And I can't wait to see if, by chance, that officer, and I'm putting this out there, I hope it's not true. I hope that he didn't have anything to do with it, but I'm just curious if that's the real reason why he killed himself. Because he knew he was complicit in all of this. Because interestingly enough, some of the someone on Capitol Hill allowed for there to be tours in the Capitol, and there haven't been tours in the Capitol since March. So they're calling these reconnaissance tours. In other words, they were able to walk around and see their way around so they know where they wanted to go once they got into the building for this siege that was planned. And let's not forget the Stop the Steal crowd. They're trying as hard as they can to distance Donald Trump from all of this and say that he didn't have anything to do with all of this. But I don't think it's going to work very well. I think he's going to be, this one's going to catch up to him. We are a country of laws. The number one person who's supposed to be the example of what it means to be lawful is our president. And he's anything but. That's scary. He's broken so many laws since he's been in office that it's insane. And here we are with millions of people who have believed the lies. And that's the thing, y'all. The very first thing we got to do when we're talking about this, the first thing we have to do is back up. Let's just get away from all the rhetoric for a second and understand that everything that's happening right now is based on lies. Lies that his constituents, his colleagues, his cabinet, the Republican Party, all are complicit in helping him to hold up. Every last one of them deserves some of this guilt. Kellyanne Conway, of all people today, she tweeted that she was shocked by all the violence and she could not believe everything that was going on, and she actually sounded like a normal person. Needless to say, she got dragged on Twitter because one thing nobody will ever let her forget is that she believes that there is a thing called alternative facts. There's no such thing. No such thing. The facts are the facts. The truth is the truth. And this twilight zone of politics that we have been living for the last 4 years is almost over. Few more days, y'all. And the alternative facts will hopefully die out with this administration. If we can even call it an administration, we can call it a regime. Donald Trump has definitely made history. I think that's probably what he was trying to do. And he definitely did it, being the first president to ever be impeached twice. There are people who believe that he helped the economy. That was part of this guy's argument last night. He did so, though. He got the economy on track. No, he rode the trajectory of what Obama had already put in place. And I told him, maybe you forgot where this country was when Obama took office. Maybe you forgot what a train wreck we were dealing with. So he began to get things back on track. And I personally believe that if he could actually have run a third term, he would have won again. But we got this guy, mostly because people refused to vote for Hillary Clinton. Now, you know, you got to really be something else for the world to see you as worse than Donald Trump. Either that or you let him brainwash the hell out of a whole lot of folks. So people got into their feelings. I'm not voting. I can't vote for that. Yeah, okay. And look where we are now. And once again, we have not heard the word deficit in 4 years. We have not heard about how the deficit has climbed under Trump. But I promise you, the minute Biden takes office, you're going to hear the Republicans scream, the deficit. Oh my God, the deficit. Not one word while Trump's been in office. And they don't tell you that it's been inflated. And here we are again. This is the thing about the Democratic Party that annoys me so much. Because they never push back. They never talk about what the Republicans do to screw this whole thing up. All they do is go on the defensive. I'm kind of tired of that. I do believe that we need a new party. We need more than one new party. We need more options, because you can't tell me that in these United States with 330 million Americans that we don't have better talent than what we're dealing with right now. You can't prove that to me. We have some brilliant, brilliant people in this country. And I guess they're so brilliant, they realize that being the president of this country is just probably not a good idea. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I think another thing that bothers me is that we have these Republicans that keep saying that this impeachment and all the things that they're trying to do will not heal the country. Why are they worried about healing the country now? What took so long? Trump has 4 days left in his presidency, and now all of a sudden you want to heal the country. You didn't want to heal the country when Charlottesville was going on, and he was talking about there's some very good people here. You didn't want to heal the country the other day when he said how special the people who raided the Capitol were. You didn't want to heal the country when black folks was in the streets mad because of all of the police brutality and overreach. Nobody wanted to heal the country then. Now it's like a threat. See, here's more of that Republican fear mongering. This is what Nixon did. Everything was about fear mongering. The funny part is, today they say, it is reported that Donald Trump is going off on anybody who compares him to Nixon. Well, personally, if I was Nixon, I'd be rolling over in my grave. And the family, I'd be very pissed off too. Because as bad as Nixon was, he is not a Donald Trump. Donald Trump is far worse. That's an insult to Nixon. So, Mr. Law and Order, right? But the fact is this. The Republican Party is complicit. And what they're not going to do, despite their best efforts, is scare everybody into giving little Donnie his way anymore. He's finally rubbed enough of the right people the wrong way. And they're going to do what should have been done 2 or 3 years ago. He's gone too far now. He's done too much. He said too much and enabled all the wrong people to do more damage than they will good. Now, I'm personally tired of it. And it's a funny thing the other night. I was laying in bed and it occurred to me that I hadn't heard Donald Trump's voice in days. Do you know how refreshing that was? Do you know how refreshing it is not to hear on the news about some dumbass tweet or some ridiculous soundbite on the news or anywhere else about how everybody says it. Everybody says I'm the greatest. Everybody knows. I've spoken to many people, and they all say, whoever the hell these people are that he always talking about, he loves the they crowd. You know, y'all know I always say on this show, uh, who is they? He knows who that. He's intimately familiar with they, because they always say that he's the greatest, he has the most, he is the best, and they all say it. Ooh, Lord. Anyway, what they're not going to do, though, is scare everybody away. As you can see, they've tried it, and it's full steam ahead with the impeachment, full steam ahead with the inauguration. And let me say, I really hope. No, I don't. Let me stop. See, because now I'm going too far. I'm going too far. But see how I check myself? That's something Donald Trump is not capable of. But I'm going to tell you what I was going to say. I was going to say, I hope that they do go and run down in Washington talking about they going to take over. Right now, there are 4 times more troops in Washington than were in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria combined. 4 times more. There's 25,000 troops in Washington, D.C. I want to see all these keyboard commandos and these wannabe soldier boys run y'all ass to Washington this week. Go on and do that. Over a lie. That's the part that I could even see if they actually had a valid position, a valid point, something to stand on, something that says we've been disenfranchised. But it's all over a lie. Please, somebody explain to me how white men are so upset with a system they created. I'm at a loss, y'all. Yeah, y'all go to Washington. They can get rid of all the terrorists in one fell swoop. They can take care of it all right then and there. You want to come in there, guns are blazing, you got your ass up on your shoulders. Go on and run up in there. I think it would be a novel show. Man, you talking about having a popcorn ready? I had a popcorn ready. You heard me. And speaking of having popcorn ready, I want to show y'all this right here. So I was sitting there, and the other day, somebody sent me a video. I posted this on my page. Somebody sent me a video, and as I was watching the video, you know, I watch these videos kind of closely because I want to see the different stuff that maybe somebody's not paying attention to, or some other things, you know, whatever else is going on. I just really want to see. So I'm watching this video, and I stopped it right here, and I did a screenshot. That's a whole case of water sitting on the floor while this stampede of knuckle draggers is going on. Now, who put that case of water there? What person knew they were coming there and put that case of water there? Because you can't tell me that one of those guys brought that water with them. Come on, y'all, we're going to storm the Capitol. Let's take a case of water in case somebody get thirsty. Pushing through the crowd, holding a case of water, and it never bust open. I can't even get a case of water from my car to the house without it busting open. And you're telling me that they got a case of water from outside, inside? No, that case of water came from somewhere inside that Capitol. Call me crazy. Y'all know I ain't crazy. Y'all know it's true. Anyway, see, that just shows you how much of an inside job this is and how complicit. There are certain members of Congress that are probably going to jail very, very soon. I'll be very interested to see that happen because there's a couple of QAnon believers in there and some other racists in there. And how about the one that won't go there without her gun? Nancy Pelosi put a thing in place, I think it was yesterday, or the last couple of days, that if you go around the metal detectors as you coming into the Capitol, that's a $5,000 fine for the first offense. Second offense is $10,000, and after that, they will be dealt with accordingly, which I think is a great idea. Why should the lawmakers who create the problems be the ones able to carry weapons inside? What does that tell you? And this is why some of the other Republicans are actually afraid at their job in one of the most secure places in the world. And they're scared to go to work because they know they are sitting alongside other people who are supposed to be upholding the Constitution, but they're doing anything but that because they're so loyal to Donald Trump, their egos and their careers, that the Constitution means absolutely nothing to them. This is where we are, y'all. Not one. And it's getting kind of hectic. You just have to ask yourself, what makes a person really lose touch with their humanity to this degree? It's a scary, scary thing. But the fear-mongering won't work. Because one thing that I do know about this country, we don't negotiate with terrorists. We never have. And I don't think we're going to start today. So when that Lil Wayne said that, I ain't never been scared and I ain't going to start today, whatever that song was he did. They're not going to do it. So if someone thought for 1 second that they were going to be able to use fear tactics in order to have their way, I think they made a huge mistake. Now, the other day, well, this was a few weeks ago, I think right after the election, when everybody kept talking about Donald Trump kept saying that the election was stolen, you had these groups of individuals line up their trucks with Trump flags and everything on it, and I thought it was pretty curious. But I couldn't help but think to myself, oh, look at the snowflakes. Oh, get over it. You lost. Oh, you don't like it. Leave. Remember that? Now they're upset. All of a sudden, it was stolen. It couldn't possibly have lost. BS. But it brought one thing to mind. And I've seen a lot of news stories where these things come up. Take a look at this. Y'all see that? What does that remind? What are we talking about right here? You know? This is basically in the Middle East, Al-Qaeda. Then we have ISIS, Middle East, riding down the road, flags out, looking like they're going to take over the world. Then you have these guys. Look damn near the same to me. I'm having a real hard time differentiating between the two. Yep. What's the difference? They're going to take over the world. They don't like the way things are going, so they're going to start their own thing, and they're going to just say, the hell with the rest of y'all. We want it our way. And this is where we are. Well, I'm going to say this. You live by lies, you die by lies. All of this shit is like a bad Ponzi scheme. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. And I think that it's catching up. That's what I think. I think this is a got your ass moment. That's what I think. In the words of the great Dave Chappelle. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha. So here's another real interesting thing about our Republicans. The senator from Oklahoma, this guy, and I forgot his name. I didn't even write it down. That's unfortunate. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so today he apologized. And the reason it doesn't matter that I remember his name is because come next election, he's going to be out of office. I think he is in a predominantly black district, and he won't be around much longer after this week because he's one of the senators who stood up and objected to the count of the Electoral College. Well, today he was all apologetic. He was apologizing to the black people in Tulsa, Oklahoma for questioning the results of the Electoral College. Why? He was one of the ones who claimed that dead people voted and the count was wrong and there were no observers, and the list goes on and on and on. He spit out every one of those talking points that they had available at their disposal. And it has come back to kick him in his ass immediately. So now his constituents are all looking at him sideways like, really, dog? That's how we doing it? Well, he says he didn't realize that what he did would offend black people. But that just goes to show you how out of touch he really is with black people and black lives. He didn't know that by trying to disenfranchise millions of voters, who, by the way, now let's look at this, and this is the part that I guess goes over the heads of those conservatives who just refuse to deal with reality. Every last one of the places that was contested, Phoenix, a lot of people of color there, and I'm only using that one because it was Arizona, but I'm using that one because you have a large Native American population and you have a large Hispanic population, along with a lot of black folks, but they disputed it. But then they went as far as to dispute Pennsylvania. Why Pennsylvania? Because the majority of those votes came out of where? Philadelphia. Who's the predominant people in Philadelphia? Black folks. But then there's Michigan. They go to Michigan. Where did the most of the votes come from out of Michigan? Detroit. Guess who's in Detroit? I'm going to let you think about it. Then we go to Wisconsin. When you think about Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Who's in Milwaukee? Ooh, more of us. And then, last but not least, the audacity, the nerve to go against Georgia. Where did most of the votes in Georgia come from? Columbus. And where? None other than the blackest city on the map, Atlanta. So in other words, if you opposed or objected to any of these so-called democratic cities, we know what that meant. Democratic mean black folks. These democratic cities. Why didn't you go after Chicago? Why didn't you go up there and complain about being disenfranchised, about losing your votes or cheating out of Chicago? Because you know better, number one. They went after all the black votes as if we haven't had enough of voter suppression in the last 150 years. Really? And you're still at it. It's amazing. Voter suppression and all the other stuff that goes with it. Why not just ask how many bubbles in a bar of soap? Forget it, man. How about how many jelly beans in the jar? How about knowing the Constitution line for line verbatim? I guarantee you, if you took the people in this country who've been living here their entire lives and you sat them down and gave them a constitutional test, 99.9% of them would fail. Yet, we have people who have to come to this country, learn the Constitution, be able to pass that test, and then we wonder why people who come from other countries seem to sometimes do better than us. It's because they've been forced to learn things that people in this country take for granted. And then we wonder why. Oh, there's a lot of factors involved, y'all. But what you can't do is disenfranchise millions of black folks and expect them to take it sitting down. Thank Thank you, Stacey Abrams, and all the other organizers who are on the ground that put in the work to make sure that black votes counted. Even though all the gerrymandering and all of the other attempts at voter suppression failed. And you already know they're going to try it again. But guess what? Just like everything else black folks have ever done in this country, as long as we've been here, we're going to figure it out and we're going to make it work. Try as you might, all you're doing is making us stronger. Y'all remember what I said on the other show? Every time they try it, all they do is make us stronger. See, some of these insurrection people and these people that want to promote this voter fraud, they've been watching too many civil rights movies. This ain't 17 or 18 nothing. This ain't even 19 nothing. This is 2021. And please believe anything that you think you're going to get away with, we got you. At this point, ain't nothing new under the sun. And the difference is we don't have that fear that you once tried to instill in our psyche. We're no longer conditioned to sit back and accept your threats. It's a new day, baby. Times has changed. For real, for real. This ain't even 1967 when y'all tried to when you did in the Black Panthers. This is 2021. It's not the same. Keep using them old tactics. They're going to get you caught up. I'm tired of these whataboutisms. Now, I'm going to say this one more time for the people in the back that wasn't listening. The next time anybody has a problem with so-called censorship of Donald Trump and his fear-mongering groups who want to continue on talking about how they've been cut off, 2 words, Colin Kaepernick. That's all you got to say. Colin Kaepernick. I told this person that I was having a conversation with last night, let me tell you what you can't do. If I tell you when you come to my house that you can't cuss, and you come into my house and you start cussing, and I put you out, you can't call that censorship. This is my house. You don't like cussing. You like to cuss. You want to cuss in the house. Go build your own. So I told this guy, I said, let me explain something to you, brother. All you have to do, there are 75 million of you brainwashed cult members. You can't tell me, you can't prove to me that out of 75 million of y'all, that you can't come up with enough money and the technology to build your own platform to spew all the hate that you want to spew. You know what he told me? Well, it's not that easy. Well, hell, the people who built the platform that you operating off of did it. What's stopping you? That's all I'm saying. And he couldn't wrap his mind around that concept. Let's be real here, y'all. The Black Factor operates at the favor of those who have set up the platform that allows my show to broadcast on 4 or 5 different platforms at once live, where I upload and host my shows, where I do my blogs, all of the hosting services who hold all my websites, where I sell my products, my books, my t-shirts, my jewelry. If all of them tomorrow decided that Brian Forbes was a problem, they could shut me down. Now, Brian Forbes has a choice at that point. I can either comply with the rules that they have set for their house, or I can go and build my own house. Will it be easy for me to build my own house? Maybe not. Maybe I need to comply with the rules of the house. When I was growing up, my great-grandmother put dinner on the table at a certain time. If you weren't there when dinner was put on the table, your ass was going to starve. Them was the rules of the house. Don't get this twisted. That's game. You either deal with the rules of the house or you move out. Now they mad. It's a false equivalency. You got a problem with censorship? 2 words, Colin Kaepernick. It's just that simple. Hope y'all ready for this inauguration. Oh, so today, was it today? One of these days. Apparently, Joe Biden is looking to forgive student loans. So if y'all got student loans out there, look forward to that. Sad to say, for those of you who, I'm not a college educated person. I don't have any student loans, yet I've paid a couple. I have degreed up children, and I think I even paid one for my wife. So hopefully that'll come to pass. And some people will get some relief. That'll be a great thing. Lastly, we're going to talk about this lockdown, because Washington is locked down. And there are right now 275 cases being probed for this insurgency. I think it's interesting that these people were willing to give up so much for a man who would give nothing for them. That's a special kind of devotion. He was right. They are special. I think when he said that they're special, that he meant that in a special kind of way. Like, yeah, y'all are real special. You got to be special to be this dumb. And they're fighting a losing battle. The bad part about it all is that this was all planned. This was all set up for Donald Trump to try to remain in office. And in fact, and found out there are an awful lot of police officers and active and retired military who were involved. This is going to be real interesting, but not really. I'm not shocked, and I'm sure many of you are not. They are basically terrorists. And the thing is, if y'all remember, we did that long show earlier I think it was in the fall or midsummer, where I talked specifically about the police who are a byproduct of the militia, who are the slave catchers from the 1700s moving forward. This is not a stretch. This is not a shock. But Blue Lives Matter. Let's not forget that. These are the same people who did the work of the slave owners, of the founding fathers of this country, who have done everything in their power to continue to keep us enslaved and to keep us under their thumb, oppressed. That is what MAGA is. Make America Great Again means white men have to have dominion over all people and all things. There's no other reason for what's taking place. None whatsoever. Because regardless to any nonsense, gaslighting BS that they come up with, the bottom line is this is about oppression. This is about their ego, and this is about them maintaining white supremacy. And the saddest part about even that is that a lot of black folks working right alongside them to make that happen. Them good old Uncle Ruckus types, male and female. I happen to know a few. And I need them to stay far, far away from me because I may not be able to contain my verbal ideas if I were to see them. So the bottom line is that the Republicans and Trump have started a fire that they have lost control of. They can't put it out. Can't put the genie back in the bottle. So that's why Old boy is in hiding. He over there hiding out uh, in his bunker. So now he's the bitter bunker bitch because he lost. Bottom line, he's upset that he lost. He can't stand losing. Losing is not in his vocabulary, even though he seems to do it consistently. Judging by the 60 court cases that were lost in attempts to try and make this go the way he wanted it to go, regardless of the facts, regardless of the people who actually voted in a free and fair election, it didn't work. The judges, I don't think another president has ever appointed as many judges as Donald Trump. But even the judges that he appointed let him know it's not how it works, bruh. These people, thank God, have some level of integrity and understand their job and their oath to the Constitution and not their oath to Donald Trump. Thank you for being people of substance. Unlike this shallow tub of shit that we're dealing with. It's time. Donald Trump, 4 more days, your president will be Joe Biden. Your vice president will be Kamala Harris. Get ready for that. Ladies, it is said that in commemoration of Kamala being inaugurated, it is Chucks and Pearls Day. So ladies, if you don't have your Chucks and your Pearls, you need to get to the store and get you some to show solidarity and support for the first female vice president of these United States in the history of this country. And although there is a argument, a back and forth, people have pick and choose who they want to, what they want to agree with and disagree with where people of color are concerned. There are those who say she's not black. There are those who say she's Indian and Middle Eastern, whatever. You can say whatever you want. She's a person of color. Regardless, she has done things that are inherently black. And at the end of the day, whether you call her of her birth origin or whatever you want to call her, it doesn't matter. They did the same thing to Barack Obama. They claimed he wasn't black. You can say whatever you want, but in the grand scheme of things, she will be identified traditionally and historically the way people of color have been identified in this country since the time of identification by color in the 1600s began. So, regardless to how you feel about that, you can effectively rest assured that she is going to go down in history as the first black female. She killed 2 birds with 1 stone right there. Vice president in the history of the United States. It's about time we got some more talent up in there. So, this guy, I want to let, in closing, I'm not quite closing yet, but I want to talk about something that happened today. This guy, Mike Lindell. I want to talk about Mike Lindell right quick. Do y'all know who Mike Lindell is? Mike Lindell is the guy who, the MyPillow guy, the guy who invented MyPillow. Well, so he was seen coming out of the White House today. And some brilliant photographer was able to get a shot of this particular piece of paper right here in his hand. That is Mike Lindell's hand. And there are things on there talking about national security, talking about voter fraud, and other China, Iran, and other things that are not good. Something, let's see, says cyber something. But the main thing that's on that paper that sticks out, it says something about martial law. So here's the guy who invented My Pillow, collaborating with the President of the United States, saying that he has proof of voter fraud, widespread voter fraud, and martial law, and some other things. Mr. My Pillow. I'm sorry, Mr. Lindell. You can keep your pillow. In fact, put it over your own head. Anyway, aside from that, he and Steve Bannon, who is currently fighting a case of fraud dealing with the Trump Foundation. I believe it was the Trump Foundation, and they're seemingly looking like skimming or money laundering. I'm not sure which, but I'm sure it will come out here soon in the court case, because we know that New York, oh, they're waiting on you, Donald Trump. Oh, they're waiting on you. Them and a few other folks. They got your number, buddy. The jig is up. Time's up. It's about to go down. And he knows it. Well, this guy, Bannon, who is out on bond right now as we speak, as a matter of fact, he is, I believe, going to probably get a pardon for his charges by Donald Trump here coming up. And I think that's what he expected. Much like the guy who, y'all remember the Bullwinkle dude, the cat that was running around down there raising hell and took his spear into the Capitol with the Bullwinkle hat and the red, white, and blue face? Well, his charges are being upgraded because he has basically admitted what they were trying to do, which also involves kidnapping and murdering elected officials. I suspect this guy's going to probably get about 20. Yeah, he's going to be gone a while. I think that most of the people that are going to end up that have caught these cases are going to end up doing some time. I think a lot of examples are going to be made to send the message that this cannot happen again. It cannot and it will not happen again. It must not happen again. So over the next couple of days, you can expect for Donald Trump to put out some controversial pardons and continue to attempt to leave office with some shred of dignity, which I can't imagine how that's possible. They're saying that he is attempting to do some sort of 21-gun salute and a red carpet and a bunch of other nonsense when he leaves Washington the morning of the inauguration, because he's too small to go and participate in the peaceful transfer of power. That's way above his head. Washington looks like a war zone right now. There are 8 to 10 foot fences up everywhere with razor wire. There are perimeters, not perimeter, perimeters, plural, set up around the Capitol. I don't think a stray dog will get in there. I think that all the people who intend to go there to protest or whatever it is that they're going to do, I think they need to get over it. Where have we heard that before? But hey, they have the right to protest. That's what America is. They have the right to assemble and voice their opinions. Go for it. What you don't have the right to do is attack people and threaten to kill those who you disagree with. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to, right quick, doggone it, I almost forgot. Right quick, let me show y'all something. This particular thing here was from earlier this year. This is what I call the I told you so moment. Watch this, y'all. Welcome to the Black Factor, where perspective is everything. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 Central. Let's remember that last week we had a group of armed white individuals storm a federal courthouse in Michigan. Or was it the Capitol? It doesn't matter. Now let's just imagine had those been armed black men and how the outcome would have gone. We know that our liar in chief promotes this sort of behavior. We need to think about this really long and hard. Was that a precursor to what we're going to see when, not if, when the fella in the White House loses this upcoming election? And he is going to lose. Did we witness a dry run in Michigan of what's going to happen if this guy should lose his seat in the White House? It's just food for thought. Yeah, I was going through some of my old videos and I found that one and I just couldn't do nothing but laugh because I called it. And here we go. There are times when y'all know I say it all the time. A lot of times I hope I'm wrong. So, but there it is. Yet again. I don't have any predictions today, except that next week we'll be under a new president and America will finally be off vacation. They will clear the White House lawn of all of its trailers and its trash. The clown car will finally finish loading up and pulling away. And we can get back to business as usual in this country. And should I say back to the usual business in this country. It's not always a good thing, but at least it'll have some level of normalcy to where we can get back to our lives and enjoy what we got going on. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you always share these lives. Make sure you hit the notification button so you can always get a chance to watch the show. When I come on, you can catch me on Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube at any time. You go on YouTube. Matter of fact, join the YouTube channel and you can go back and watch previous shows because there's always a lot to talk about and enjoy. Don't forget, you can catch my podcast at Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, and a couple other spots. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming out, hanging out with me, and I want to also remind you not to forget to get your copy of The Black Factor, available on my website, bmforbes.com. And don't forget, y'all see my t-shirt for the day, 8 minutes, 46 seconds. That's in honor of George Floyd. Go to quotedlife.com. That's quotedlyfe.com. And check out the line of t-shirts that we have available. They're unapologetically black. Check them out. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for hanging out with me, man. Y'all make this journey with me 3 times a week. And I thank you for it, and I enjoy it. I love what I'm doing. And as long as y'all continue to support me, I'll continue growing this thing as big as I can get it. Because people need information. And sometimes the information we get ain't always the way we want to get it. So I'm going to give it to you the way we know how to deal with it. This is the Black Factor, where perspective is everything. And I got the news that you can use. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. So I'm going to say love, peace, and chicken grease. And I'm out.